If you do have any questions, you should see a box in the right-hand side just where you can ask any questions, and we do have a Q&A session at the end of today's session. Hopefully I can answer any questions during the presentation itself, but please feel free to ask any questions and we'll get to those at the end. Thank you very much. So what we are going to talk about today is why Guest Centre and how Guest Centre can streamline your operations, how we can empower great hospitality and therefore better your business. And we will then go straight into a live demo followed by the Q&A session. So first of all, we will discover the benefits of Guest Centre. So we're going to begin by taking a little walk down memory lane. And right now I'd like to take you back to a time when the Spice Girls were #1 with Stop. Yes, 1998. The CD Walkman. I used to have one of those Nokia phones myself. And Windows 98 was the big thing. And there we go, my favorite ladies in the bottom right hand corner as well. Obviously things have moved on quite a bit from 20 years ago. We're now in the future. Guest Centre is our next generation reservation management platform, and it lets you run your restaurant from anywhere. It is a cloud-based reservation system for your restaurants, and the Guest Centre runs on an iPad, replacing the older server terminal that sits at the front desk. There are currently more than 7,000 restaurants in the UK using Guest Centre. 47,000 restaurants worldwide are using Guest Centre. And that does make Guest Centre now the largest reservation platform in the world. We have more restaurants using it than our previous ERB reservation system, which is quite exciting. Guest Centre is always at your fingertips. You have access to real-time data. You can check your stats and any reporting on the go in real time. You can access it from practically any device. You have a web client. You also have an iPad manager app, an iPhone manager app, as well as the iPad system itself. And you're no longer restricted to a certain number of licenses. There are unlimited logins that you can have for Guest Centre. It no longer works on licenses, therefore we're able to provide this at no extra licensing cost to you, which is fantastic. We can therefore streamline your operations with Guest Centre. So what this means is that you can keep your focus on your guests at all times. With the in-service app, you can say goodbye to the giant terminal separating you, hiding behind a screen as guests come in. It frees up your front desk. It's understated. You can see from the image on the left, she is looking out for guests coming through the door. She's not kind of focusing on a computer screen. It's all there in front of her. There's no wires, no IT headaches. Your IT teams no longer have to kind of troubleshoot any firewall issues. You can just jump straight into setting the reservation system up, which works even when the Wi-Fi is down. Currently, if you're using our ERB system, if you do lose internet connection, then it has been known that the restaurants will also lose access to their reservation software itself, and they can't see the guests that are walking in. Guest Centre still lets you access your book, and you can still seat guests, take reservations, and if you lose Wi-Fi, it will just resync the next time it connects, which is pretty fantastic. And once again, unlimited user access, so you're not restricted to just kind of one screen and everyone kind of fighting over access to it. Guest Centre is being designed to be smart and simple. It's powerful but approachable, a thoughtful design intended to make running the floor and multitasking a breeze. It's a user-friendly interface, very easy to learn, simple to use. The intuitive touchscreen means that it does exactly what you expect it to do. There are familiar features and functions, and the thing that we found, the restaurants that have made the switch from our ERB system to Guest Centre, the teams are more in tune to kind of what is coming next, and it knows It does exactly what you think it will do. Anyone that uses an iPhone or any kind of tablet in a day-to-day, it's designed to be built into that and intuitive with that as well. Manage the office like a boss. You can adjust your availability, book reservations, manage your OpenTable presence all in one place. You will be given a web login, so it doesn't all run on the iPad. All of your back of house functions are through a web login. This is access to floor plans and settings. You can update restaurant details on your OpenTable profile. You can even view your bill and get those sent over to your own accounts departments directly from the system as well. And you can also participate in OpenTable guest campaigns and promotions directly from your Guest Center login as well. You can also run the show on the go. With the Owners app, which is exclusive to Guest Center, you always have your reservation book in your pocket. You can keep tabs on the floor while you're on the road, book and edit reservations at any time you need. You can also review and add guest notes as well as visit notes and communicate your staff via shift notes. You can also set up push notifications for VIPs. If you're sat in the back office and one of your VIPs has walked in, you can set it up so you get a nice little ping on your Apple Watch, if you have one, to let you know that Mr. Smith has just arrived, and you may just want to step out front just to welcome them into the restaurant. It means that your staff aren't then running around trying to find you to welcome your VIPs. Guest Center also plays well with others. The fact that it is a cloud-based system means that we can set up easier integrations. There is real-time data sharing, and with POS integration that we are currently working on for the UK, you can also get revenue reporting in the Owner app. Currently, we have Fishbowl integrations, which is a marketing software. It downloads your OpenTable guest book, and you can set up mailing lists and databases in order to send marketing emails. There is also reporting in that to give you click-through results and book rates resulting from your email marketing. And we also integrate with Single Platform, who is our menu provider, and it's a quick and easy way to display your menus on your OpenTable profile as well. Now, how do you empower great hospitality with Guest Center? It helps you get to know your guests better. You can easily recall diner details and preferences so that your staff is always in the know. You can organize your guest profiles, seating and dining preferences, repeat history and VIP statuses and more. It also keeps a log of special dates, including birthdays and anniversaries. So here you will see the iPad app as well as the Owners app. It's the exact same reservation, and you can just see how everything is all broken down. We have the tags at the top, which breaks them down into visit tags as well as guest tags. The visit notes, and you also have the split of the guest book notes so that you can really focus on the kind of information that you really need. So your front of house team will need to know about the general note about always friendly, always talking about restaurants. Is quite a nice icebreaker. But you've also got the seating preferences so that the front of house team know to try and sit them on table 22. And then your food and drink preferences for your sommelier is great for them to know about the dry white wine selection that they have. You can also share guest info across all your locations. Guest Center keeps you aware of your group's most valuable restaurants so that VIPs always get VIP treatment. For any restaurants that have any restaurant groups that have a lot of cross-selling and visitors that go from one venue to the next, you can share the information that you have from one site to another. You can also keep a note of their guest preferences, notes and tags, as well as their VIP status and relationships, as well as their group visit history. There's nothing worse than a VIP in one restaurant going to a sister site and then being treated like the group don't know them. So it's quite a nice way to keep that relationship going across all of the brands. As you can see from this example on the left, it tells you all of their different notes. So you can see here that their visit notes at GC Bistro are a little bit different to their visit notes at Restaurant Nova, but all of the information there is pertinent, and it helps them to build that better relationship and that conversation when the guest does arrive. You can also increase covers and delight with table types. This is also exclusive on Guest Centre. We did a lot of research with some of our restaurant partners, and we discovered that a number of restaurants were holding back some of their table inventory just so that they could manage guests' expectations, especially if they have high top tables or bar areas or outdoor seating. We have found that when guests were making those reservations, the front of house teams were allocating on arrival and asking for their guests if they were happy to sit at the bar or in a counter seat, or if they were able to sit on a high top table. Guest Centre now gives guests the opportunity to book a specific seat, and it also means that you in the restaurants can have more of your restaurant inventory online. With bar, counter, high top and outdoor seating, you can only offer tables when you have them, and you can set accurate expectations with online guests. If all of your standard seating is fully booked and you do have a table, a seat for one at the counter, it's great. It means that that guest can make an informed decision. You still get to welcome the guest in the restaurant, and it also means that the guest is also able to make their selection, and they know exactly the kind of table that they're going to be sitting at. We also have effortless communications. Again, exclusively on Guest Centre, you can confirm your guest reservations without moving a muscle, thanks to Guest Centre's automated reservation confirmation requests with SMS and email. You can spend more time with guests and less time on the phone. You can remind guests and reduce no-shows, making your life easier, and you can better the guest experience before they even walk through the door. When guests receive their confirmation email, they will receive 24 hours before their visit an email or an SMS reminder, and they can either click to confirm, or they can cancel directly from the confirmation email as well. It means that you're also not following up and calling guests continually if they've not confirmed or cancelled their reservation. Exclusively on Guest Centre, you can also communicate directly with your guests. For the first time, you can now respond directly to guests that leave reviews about your restaurant. You can bookmark reviews to return to later. You can also send thank you notes for praise and recover from service issues and get guests to come back. All of the feedback is not public, so you can have these conversations in private, which is a great way to kind of really get to the bones of the guest's experience. How can you better your business with Guest Centre? By keeping your finger on the pulse. Guest Centre's owner app makes it easier to get a snapshot of how your business is doing. This is exclusive on Guest Centre. You can receive shift cover and party counts, breakdowns of covers by channel, and revenue data and trends. You can see in the example on the right that this restaurant has 43 phone covers and 10 online covers, and that is real time and updates from service to service and even throughout service as the reservations change. Exclusively on Guest Centre, you can also dive into the details. Our interactive reporting dashboard lets you slice and dice the reservation data any way you see fit. You can view preset and custom date ranges. You can also filter, sort and search your results, as well as print and export the data to share with your team and really drill down in the stats that you need. You can also get more out of every shift. Once again, exclusively on Guest Centre, we have a turn time analysis report. You can audit your setup with helpful availability analysis and fine-tune your settings, reducing overbooking, avoid underbooking, and make the most out of your busiest shifts. The really cool thing with turn time analysis is that it tells you just on an average over the last time periods, and these are also predetermined, or you can choose a specific amount of time as well. Any settings that are slightly out, and you may be able to increase your reservation flow. On the example on the right, you can see here that this restaurant allocates tables of up to 4 guests 2 hours, but most of their parties are taking about an hour and 33 minutes. So they may want to reduce their turn times just so that they can help push in. And it may be the difference between seating guests twice or seating a third turn within the reservations itself. The really cool thing about this is that it doesn't change the settings for you, so you are fully still in control of your reservation settings. It's just there to help give you a little bit more of an understanding of to what is happening on the floor with those turn times. You can also keep a track of your referrals, and you can also report on that as well. Viewing referrals and summary reports to reward those who are repeatedly sending you diners. You can identify top referral channels, keep track of concierge business, and connect the dots between referrers and the covers they drive. I work with a number of restaurants that have PA schemes, and they work with a lot of businesses where the PAs within that business will make repeated bookings for a number of clients within the business, and restaurants are able to track those and see who is their top cover driver in each of those individual businesses. And the same also works with hotels. So if you are in an area with a lot of hotels or a lot of concierges within the same hotels, you can also keep track of those team members who are sending restaurant reservations your way. You can also learn and grow. Discovering historical data helps you spot trends so that you can improve in the future. You can forecast with confidence, maximize your settings, and make better plans. I think that's really useful, especially when you can see what is coming over the next few weeks compared to how you finished last year. It gives you that confidence that you can follow year on year with either a marketing push, social media posts, see something that you did last year compared to this year, and to help drive those covers to get a better year on year performance. So what's in an upgrade? If you like what you see and you do want to come ahead with Guest Center, it's a real straightforward process. We work with you to pick the perfect time. We also provide all of the training for you and your staff, and we also transfer your guest reservation data from the electronic reservation book over into Guest Center. An important thing to note with this is once you have signed the Guest Center documents, it's really straightforward, but that doesn't mean that we're going to switch you over straight away. We do get in touch, and then we do leave it to you to work with you to schedule the times that work, which is more of a benefit to you. It means that you're not rushing through during a busy weekend. So I'm now going to go through a live demo. We will begin with the iPad in service module, as well as going through reservations, guest management, and floor management. We will then pop through onto the iPhone app just to show you how it works on the go with the analytics and reporting, the reservation management, as well as the notes, reviews, and notifications. If you just bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to get my iPad app up and running. So here we have the OpenTable Guest Center app. It is on the iPad, and you can follow this along whenever you do have access to an iPad. You can simply download the OpenTable Guest Center app, and you will see on the bottom of the screen, try a demo. So it does give you access to the reservation software, just so that you can have a play. So what will happen, we're just waiting for the demo data to open. And here we have the reservations on our demo restaurant. You can see here, you do have access to, you will see that there's the restaurant floor plan. And on the left-hand side are all of your reservations as they will appear. It's not too different. You do have all of the floor plan still, and the table categories do change along with the reservation system itself. So I'm just going to jump straight in to the reservation process. Up in the top right-hand corner, you will see a book icon, and this book icon is the add a reservation. So we're just going to go straight through there. I'm going to make a reservation for today, the 24th. For 2 guests, and I'm going to go for breakfast at 10:30, and I'm going to type the name Pierce in, Leah Pierce, press the green tick button to make a reservation, and that's it. So the confirmation email has already gone, and it's a real straightforward process. Let me break that down for you a little bit closer. So pressing the icon straight away. Now you'll see here on the 24th, there is a reservation note, sorry, a shift note. You'll see that it says tasting plus. So I'm just going to click on that, and you'll see on the left-hand side some pop-up notes. And you may have seen a short while ago when I made the last reservation, that these stay all the way through the reservation process itself. It just lets you know that there is a tasting menu on in the lounge and what the details of that are. And it also lets you know that there is a private dining event happening in the private room. It also has all of the details for that as well. These are completely editable by you in the restaurant team, so it's really straightforward. So here you can go through the reservation process by selecting the number of guests. It picks the date just so that we can make sure that rather than give you the availability, we need to know if there is availability. We're just going to go ahead and make a reservation for 4 guests. And down the right-hand side, I don't know if any of you use the system in the electronic reservation book. You do have the option to view your cover count as it appears all through service. We've now blended this into the reservation process itself, so you don't have to go through 2 separate routes. You can just jump straight into the reservation process and use this cover count down the right-hand side to check how your covers are throughout the whole of the service. So you can see here at 8:15 you have 4 covers booked, and then at 8:45 and 9 o'clock you currently have 3 covers. The maximum this restaurant has is 15 covers every 15 minutes. I'm going to go right ahead and book my 4 guests in at 7 o'clock. So here we have the possibility to add the name. So I'm just going to type my name in here. In exactly the same way as your current reservation book works, as you start to type, all of the different names will filter through. I don't currently exist in this reservations data, so I'm just going to go ahead and add myself to the guest book. I'm going to take a phone number. Oh, that's too many digits, there we go. And I'm also going to add an email address, p@rowlands.com. Lovely. I won't have any visit notes, but I will add some tags. As I'm making this reservation, I've explained that it is my anniversary, but I am also a pescatarian, and you recognize me as a VIP, which is quite nice of you, thank you. So just make sure that you press the green tick. If you press the X to come out, it won't save those tags. Now, the difference between these tags are an anniversary tag will stay with me just for this reservation, because it's not going to be my anniversary every time I come in. But the pescatarian and VIP tags will stay every time. They are pertinent to me as the guest. So every time I come, I will still be a pescatarian and VIP. Visit notes, I will be bringing a bottle of champagne. We also have some food and drink preferences. With my pescatarianism, I do not eat monkfish, which is quite a nice thing. And it does mean that the team themselves can make those informed decisions when it comes to recommending dishes as well. So you will see here that there is the option to add a credit card. We do partner with a company called Stripe, which houses all of your guests' credit card details, including the 3-digit security code. This is then encrypted at the point of reserving, so no one will have access to this, and it is fully PCI compliant. So we will go ahead and make that reservation, and once again, my confirmation email has gone straight away. So I'm now just going to jump in to our dinner service just to have a quick look. So to do that, I'm just going to press this top button where it says breakfast and select my dinner service. So here we have our reservations for this evening. The thing that I quite like about this reservation system is we've replaced a lot of the kind of hidden information, and we've just given you some tags in the top line. So you can see here, my reservation down on this side, I've got a lot of icons, whereas David Hardy has none. So if we switch on David Hardy, you'll see he has no tags, no visit notes, and no guest book notes. To switch on to mine, you're going to see all of the information that I've added. So you'll see that the star is in reference to my guest status. My knife and fork is with regards to my pescatarian dishes, and the glasses are in reference to the fact that I'm celebrating an anniversary. We also have a notebook there just to let you know that I've also added some additional notes. Something I do really quite like about this system here, especially when it comes to a pre-shift briefing, in the top right-hand corner of the app here, you'll see this brief notebook. If we tap on that, you'll get some top-line information to let you know that there are some general notes. If we tap on that again, down the main bulk of the app itself, you will see all of these individual notes, and they're all broken down according to those different sections. So you'll see the visit notes for my reservation. You'll also see the special relationships. We have one of those coming in. You've also got a list of everyone who's coming in with a special event, as well as all of the seating preferences, and then finally the food and drink preferences. So you can really make sure that the right teams are informed of the right things going on in the restaurant. And here we have again, on the left-hand side, the tasting menu notes and any side notes and the 86 list of the items that aren't available today. So it's a really useful tool for your pre-shift briefing. So we're going to jump to back to the floor plan, and we are going to come back to our lunch service right now. So Luca Gibbs has just given us a call. I'm going to swipe slightly to the right, and he is running a little bit late. So we're just going to make him late. It will give us a couple of seconds just to undo it in case we've made a mistake. Poppy Ward, she has been allocated 22. You can see that because her table is now in a grey colour. And on table 22, you can see a solid black time to let us know that at 8 o'clock, this guest has to be seated there. So all I'm doing right now is on the app, I'm holding Poppy's name, and I'm just going to drag her to that table. And that's it. Again, it'll give you a couple of seconds to undo it in case you made a mistake. And now table 22 is seated. What you will see is this bar will fill up with white. The longer the guest has been seated, the more it will fill up with white. These are according to your own turn time, so it won't kind of fill up quicker than it needs to. And it won't automatically finish the guest just because they've reached the end of their time. That will still leave the control to you just in case the guest does stay longer and you want to keep them on that table. We also have the option here. So Alfie Bartlett has now arrived. He's been allocated table 14, and you can see that because there is the dotted line around his table. But as he arrives, I'm actually going to seat him on table 12. Yes, it's slightly too large for a party of 4, but it does still give me that control to make sure that I can seat them whenever they arrive rather than their specific tables. And finally, Luca Gibbs, I'm just going to seat him now on table 32. So what does happen is all of those reservations seated by their seated time, it lets you know where in the reservation process they are. And just by tapping on the icon, it's going to let you know where they are. So Jack Tomlinson, his bill has been dropped. Reese Campbell is currently on his desserts. Eve Stevenson is currently on her main course. So you do have access to update all of these. She's now just gone through to her dessert, which is quite a nice thing. The other thing that the main difference between this and the ERB reservation system is currently when you seat a guest using the floor view, their name does drop off of that list. So you do have to keep clicking onto the tables to see who's seated where. This does keep that name list all there all the way through. And so that's a really interesting factor. I don't know if this has happened with you before, but sometimes a guest will cancel a reservation and then they change their minds and they do actually want to reinstate their reservation. Currently on the electronic reservation book, that can be quite a painful process to look for the guest and find their reservation and reinstate it. If a guest has made that reservation, you can see here, Emily Roberts has made a reservation for 5 guests at 7:15 and it's been cancelled. I'm just going to tap on that, and where it says cancelled, I'm now going to click booked, and that's now moved into the reservation process itself. So it's very quickly and easily reinstated. She's also, instead of today, she's now going to come tomorrow. So I'm just going to click on the clock and click tomorrow's date for breakfast. There are no regular tables available, but I know that we can squeeze 5 guests onto a larger table at 8:30. I'm going to confirm that overbooking, and that is now in tomorrow's reservation book. And I'm now going to confirm the assignment to table 31. So you've got a lot of options there to make your reservation books. We also have the option here to seat walk-ins. Very straightforward. Click on the table, seat a walk-in for 1 guest, and that's it. It's done. Just a 2-click process, and there they are. As I know that guest because they are one of my regulars, I'm also just going to allocate their name. So I'm just going to tap where it says here, seat walk-in, the walk-in name. You can add the name, and again, it's going to bring up the names of your guest book. Going to add that, and there we go. So yes, it is a walk-in, but it's now attributed to the guest's profile. We can also seat guests, add guests to our waiting list using this notebook button at the top with the list. And we are going to add 3 guests to our wait list. The really exciting thing with this is based on our current reservations and the tables that are already seated, Guest Center will suggest an availability, a wait time. So I'm going to go ahead and use that suggestion, because in 10 minutes time we should have a table coming up according to the turn times that we have already preset into the system with you. So I'm just going to add Smith, and this is going to be a single use profile. So it won't create an actual profile for them for the future, and I'm going to add the guests to the wait list. They now sit at the top of the list because they are now waiting in the restaurant for their table to arrive. And the longer that the guest sits, it will is waiting, it will count down. So currently it's on 0 minutes of 10, and the longer they wait, there we go. So they've been waiting 1 minute. So clicking into this menu button on the top left-hand side, we also have new to guest center, a list view. You can see here we have a wait list. We also have the booking, so these are your reservations still to arrive. You can also scroll across to all of the guests who have seated. You also have your finish list, so any guests who have now left. And Jack Tomlinson, I'm now just going to finish his reservation. So you'll see here that Jack Tomlinson is now in our finish list. And then you finally have your remove list. So these are the guests who have cancelled or no-showed. We also have a timeline view. So anyone who uses the electronic reservation book and has the grid view, we now have this in Guest Center as the timeline view. For lunch service here, I'm just going to show you a really nice, easy way to explain how the reflow process works in Guest Center. So you can see here, Matilda Ellis's reservation for 4 guests at 3 o'clock. She has actually requested to be seated on table 1, which is where Lily Watts has been seated. I'm now just going to allocate that. And you do that just by holding the reservation, and you can slide that. Currently on Guest Center, on the ERB, you can accidentally change someone's reservation time on this process by just sliding slightly to the left or to the right. Guest Center means that you can slide it and it will keep them at that reservation time. So Matilda Ellis, I'm now going to move on to table 1. And what will happen is Lily Watts is now just going to be moved onto table 11, just so that it can free up the table for Matilda Ellis without causing any other conflicts. And the idea of that is that it will try and shuffle it so that you get turns rather than, as you can see here, table 14 is available all throughout service. But it just means that you now have more choice on table 14 for guest booking online and in-house than you would if Lily Watts was moved to table 14. It will stop your restrictions. So that's quite a nifty little function with Guest Center. And we touched on it briefly, but here we have your shift overview. This will let you know your cover counts throughout service and your expected arrivals for reservations. It also gives you your total covers by time. So you can see here at 3 o'clock, you have 6 guests arriving. It gives you your breakdown of the phone and in-house reservations versus your online reservations. If we were now to come back to your breakfast service, you'll see here that you had 4 walk-ins for breakfast this morning. And your shift overview does shift throughout the service just to keep it up to date, as well as your relevant parties by size. Finally, the thing we're going to touch on here is your guest book. Again, you can jump straight in. It will give you the list of the most recently added guests. So here we can see my reservation at the top there. You can search for a guest. So I'm just going to punch in Thompson. You can see all of their guest history. If you know what their birthday is, you can add that as well as their anniversary. You've also got all of their notes, which you can update. And clicking on this history button, you will also be presented with their full list of all their previous reservations. What you do also have the option of, in every single past visit, you have the option to go back to that reservation as well. And it will take you to the reservation book as it was on that date, which is pretty exciting. We also have the ability to add server sections if that's important to you. You can see here that these are the waiters that are currently on today, but I'm also going to allocate Dominic onto the bar tables right here. And that's it. It's all done and dusted. So I'm just going to pause there while we have a look at the iPhone Owners app. And hopefully you've seen some things already that are useful for you. So again, here we have the Guest Center Owners app. This is for iPhone. You do also have the option to download it on Android as well, and you do also have access to a lot of these features on the Android app. The Guest Center Managers app, again, also has a demo version. So if you do have access, you can download it on your iPhone and you can try a demo. So the way that this works right now is this gives you your stats for, this is currently Monday the 24th for breakfast. With POS integration, it does show you your revenue. If we tap across, it does also give you that breakdown. Your shift stats with a comparison for the previous 4 Mondays. So currently there are 44 covers compared to the 27 covers over the previous 4 Mondays on an average. It gives you your phone and in-house reservation breakdown versus online, and again with walk-in covers that will also be added throughout the service as well. You also have your shift flow, as well as any other notable parties. So again, this will sync with the iPad app where it shows you all of the special seating requirements, special events, dietary requirements, and large parties. So at the top, we have the overview. So this is your shift overview. As it was in the iPad, it gives you all of these notes and all of the details for the private events, as well as any side work and the 86 list. What it also does is it again breaks down all of the guest notes and reservation details so that you can also, in a moment of pre-shift as you're on your way into the restaurant, you can also have a look and see what is coming in and what is what you're working to when you arrive in the restaurant. You can add a shift note right here, and this is going to be an all-day shift note for a special occasion for today, and we have a private room showing. And once I press that green tick, it will be updated. There you go, private room showing. And it will also sync with the iPad as well. So you can also communicate to your guests. If it is your day off and you forgot to update something, you can add it from home and it will sync automatically as well. You also have your guest list here. This again will let you know all of the guests who are arriving today. It also lets you know who is seated and who's been cancelled. So Christopher Wallace, if he gives you a call to let you know that he now wants to reinstate his reservation, we're just going to go ahead and change him back to booked. Brilliant. And that's all done. So he's now a reservation again for today's service. You also have access right here using this big blue button on the bottom corner. You also have access to make reservations. I don't know how many of you have received a text message or a phone call from one of your friends asking you to book you into your restaurant. You can now go ahead and do that straight away rather than make a note for yourself. A reservation for 2 guests this Saturday at 7 o'clock, and you can add the guest name right there. Thanks, Abby, that's all booked in for you. The confirmation email goes, and again, it does sync exactly with your reservation availability and your guest book, so you do have all of the most accurate data in there as well. You can also jump from service to service using the top toggle buttons, or just by clicking on the date, you can jump straight to a date as well. And we're going to look at dinner for the 27th. Brilliant. One thing that Guest Center also has is with the confirmation emails, you can see here that Aaron, Evan, Freddie, Tia, and Alexander all have this tick next to them. That means that they have received their confirmation messages and they have responded to let us know that they have confirmed already. So that just means that for Thursday dinner, I might just want to give Sophia, Rosie, so just Sophia and Rosie, I might just want to give them a call if they haven't confirmed. Having just those two guests to confirm is a lot better than working through the entire reservation book just to call and confirm all of my reservations. So along the bottom, clicking the star icon, this will let you give. This will let you see all of your reviews. It lets you apply dates and filter all of your reservations. It means that you can scroll through, see all of your reviews. And you can see here, there is a private note. Please consider making the full menu available on the patio. It just means that you, again, you can have access to this at any time to review back and look at all of your comments that you're receiving. The next icon across is your stats. So you can see here, these are your September 2018 summaries. This is compared to year over year. So you'll see currently, you've got 2,500 scheduled for this year versus the 34 covers that you seated last year. So you're already on track for beating your covers last year. It gives you a breakdown on percentage as well as the further breakdown with month over month. So although you're over for September last year, you're currently down on August this year. And this is your percentage of the month over month summary. You also have covers by source. So these are your finished covers. So this is everyone who has been seated since the 1st to the 24th of September. 45% of these reservations came through the OpenTable network. 25% came in via walk-ins, which is a pretty interesting stat to see. It also lets you know your upcoming reservations for the rest of the month as well. You also have some stats on your first-time diners versus repeat diners and out-of-town versus local diners. You also have some stats on OpenTable campaigns. If you participate in our bonus point scheme, our promoted results offers, as well as our standard OpenTable covers as well. We also have, finally, just looking on the bottom icon, you also have the action to set up individual promotions. If you can see that your Thursday night wants a little bit of a push, you can jump straight into setting up a promotion directly from the Managers app here. So a question that has just come in. I understand everything will be in the cloud, but I don't want my staff to be able to play with the settings. How does that work? That's a really good question. There are currently two strands of access to the system. There is a front of house setting and also a full access setting. When you are creating the numerous accounts for your staff to access the system, you can give some only front of house access, which means that they can make and reserve reservations and run the book for service. The second full access is for your management team so that they can change the settings, create services, and apply all of the changes to the reservation system and OpenTable profile. So it is it's not everyone to you can choose who has the full access and who doesn't. There is also the option to override reservations, but you can instill a 4-digit passcode so that only your management team can use that passcode to authorize any overbookings or blockings of tables as well. Can you use your iPad to redeem QR codes, OpenTables, when diners present their printed or on-screen codes? There's no reason why you can't, but it does depend on if your POS system or your voucher system does have an iPad app that does sync automatically. Currently, the Guest Centre app will not read that to redeem it from your system for you. So I would just check with your voucher and your with your coding system as well. How does the system constantly optimize availability? So we touched on it briefly with the reservation system currently in OpenTable ERB system. If you currently make a reservation for 4 guests, the system itself will allocate a table for 4, which is great. 4 people, we're going to sit on a 4 top. What will happen is if that reservation then reduces to 2 guests, the system itself will keep the that initial reservation for 4 guests on a table for 4. So you are in effect underselling that to that 4 top, unless you physically go through and move that reservation. Which is quite difficult to do if you think about the online reservations. If someone is booking weeks and weeks ahead and they make those changes, you're not always going to be constantly on your book looking weeks and weeks into the future just to kind of play about and move with the floor plan. The thing that Guest Centre does quite nicely is if that reservation changes from 4 to 2, if you have availability, it will move that new to party reservation onto a table of 2. So it will in effect move the reservations around to maximize the availability. It also looks at your turn times, and as I showed you in the iPad demo, if you do move any tables around, it will free up the tables to make sure that you have the turns in the system itself, rather than kind of spreading the service all across all of the tables. It just means that you can keep your books open for longer and play about and accept as many reservations as possible. So those are just some of the ways that Guest Centre does maximize your book and the availability. So I'm just wondering if there were any more questions that any guests had. Okay. So we will call it a day. Thank you very much for your time. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to our account management team. We are all more than happy to answer any questions you may have. If you would like to go ahead for a Guest Centre upgrade, please reach out to us and we'll be more than glad to help. But thank you all very much for your time this morning, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks very much.